All right, welcome to Outdated and Uneducated Week 10 preview show. And we have a special guest, Sports Box Drew. How's it going?
Hey man, how you guys doing, man? I'm excited to do the show. Thanks for having me on. Really excited and can't believe that the Dolphins are beating the Ravens right now.
Yeah, it's going. It's Bizarro World Week, and it was not even managed to keep to 1 week. It's continued on into into Thursday night football. Yeah, crazy results all over the NFL, and it looks like
Uh,
that's not changing.
oh,
Well, yeah, 15 to 10. I mean, yeah.
Oof.
And crazy, you even had you had a Justin Tucker missed, field
hmm
goal, and now you got something who's called Albert Wilson running free here. So a lot of interesting things happen on Thursdays, and we have a lot of interesting things to talk about. For this week as well. Drew, you are a Chargers guy, and we'll kind of get into uneducated Vikings-Chargers a little bit later. That's going to be interesting. I'm excited for that, by the way, just to kind of
And
be
it'll be
the
a close
referee.
game. It's gonna be a
Yeah,
close game. You,
yeah.
you know that for sure.
But before we get into that, let's go ahead and start with the Chiefs at the Raiders. Being a Chargers guy, you're very familiar with both these teams. Um, Uneducated. What are your kind of thoughts on this game as well?
um,
Uh,
Oh,
go.
sorry.
Yeah, go ahead. Take it.
Yeah,
I'm
go
sorry.
ahead.
I thought you said my bad. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
No,
No,
it's all
go ahead.
good.
Yeah.
Matt. This is I definitely agree. It is a must win for both teams. More so for the Kansas City Chiefs, just because of their lackluster performance this year so far. It's really going to be interesting to see and how these Raiders are going to respond after Henry Ruggs and then the corner that also got released. John Gruden fallout. This team's really going through it, and it's gonna be really interesting to see how they respond after the loss last week against the Giants, and now they got Kansas City, who's shooting up the chart right now in the standings in the AFC West. Yeah, at one point they were 2 games below 500. Now they are right in the thick of things. So it's a big AFC West Sunday night game on prime time. I'm really excited to watch it. And as a Charger fan, it's a win for us because one of these guys we're going to lose. And it's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be interesting to see what Patrick Mahomes could do against the Raiders defense, and it's gonna be really interesting to see what Derek Carr can do against this Kansas City horrifically bad defense. And they have Deshaun Jackson. So what are they going to do with him? What's the plan with them? Are they just going to put him at 9 routes, or is he going to really take over that Henry Ruggs position and flourish? Because I think he fits that bill for what they need. But time will tell. We'll see.
Yeah, he fits that bill for sure. I would say he's probably just a worse Henry Ruggs, right?
Oh
Because he
yeah.
just probably doesn't have that burst anymore. Not that he can't get it done. Because I eat my words real quick on this show all the time. But yeah, that's going to be an interesting matchup. Both teams just in chaos, like for different reasons, right? The Chiefs somehow 5-4 is just a completely unacceptable record. Like, I pulled up the standings just now and I was like, what are they, like 3 and something? Like, no, I was like, oh, they're 5-4. Like, and everyone's like, sky's falling. you know, when you're tied for half game back in first place in your division, I guess that's unacceptable when you're the Chiefs. But yeah, must win for both teams for sure. Raiders, they had a good little season going. Sometimes off the field stuff derails that. And can you get it together? We gonna find out on Sunday night.
Well, yeah, and the sky is falling because you look at Mahomes in the last two weeks, he's been 0 for 9 on passes more than 20 yards, and that's kind of been their bread and butter with Tyreek Hill.
hmm
So something is wrong. I mean, the Packers defense, and we'll get into them a little bit later, but the Packers defense has been better, but. Mahomes is 20 for 37, 166 yards and 1 touchdown. That's really unacceptable when you look at the Chiefs' offense of the past, what they're supposed to be, right?
hmm
Yeah, it's not getting any easier too. I mean, the Raiders' defense isn't great either, but it's probably better than the Packers' defense. I don't know since they lost Arnett. Yeah,
Yeah.
Arnett. Sorry,
Yeah.
I lost it for a second. Yeah, since they lost Arnett, who knows if their secondary still holds up? But they had a pretty solid across the board secondary. I know sometimes a leak can spring, right? Where if you have one guy that's just not an NFL corner, then it doesn't matter how good the other two guys are. But it'll be interesting to see just when Mahomes wakes up, if he does. Maybe this is just a lost season for them. This is going to be kind of a really pivotal point where both these teams can kind of tank from here. You can see both these teams finishing third or fourth in the division if they don't win this game.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, almost everybody in the division has 5 wins, right? I mean, it's just
everyone in the division does have 5 wins. Yeah,
Yep.
It's only some of them had a bye week. Who are you playing in this game, Andy? Are you playing anyone for the Raiders in this game? Are you playing even one player for the Raiders besides Waller? Is he even out? No, he's out.
No, I'm not. I mean, and that's hard to say because you look at it and the Chiefs defense. I mean, that's a defense that you really target. In fantasy, you say you can run against them. I mean, I guess I have to play Josh Jacobs.
I would play Josh Jacobs.
Yeah, but he's been banged up, hasn't he?
Yeah, he has. But I mean, it's still with his ADP and where you drafted him, which it should be second or third round. I mean, you got to play the guy. You have to.
What about his backup? I mean, do we go ahead and also play him as well?
Kenyon Drake?
Yeah. I mean, I was on the Drake, earlier this season. I think I called a Kenyon Drake game, but then, someone else stepped in and I mean, is it even worth, from what you've seen of him, the Chiefs are susceptible. So is it even worth kind of, throwing him out there?
That's a desperation play for me. That is a oh man, I don't have a running back situation, right? Because Drake will steal a game or two. He's been doing it for a couple of years now, where he comes in for a stretch, 2-3 games. It's like, oh nice, little run there to get people through the middle of their season. He's done pretty well late season for a couple teams of mine, but I'm not gonna try to prophesize that on my end.
No, if there's a guy that you need to play, that's the outside of the Waller, Carr, Jacobs conversation, it's Renfro.
Yeah,
that's the only guy you can look at. He's averaging over 8 targets a game. He gets production through the middle of the field, lining him up at the X position is the cream of the top for the Raiders because he really can stretch the field and runs all 9 routes. So I mean, that's a guy that you could really look into, and that's Carr's buddy pretty much. So
he's in the circle, man. He's in the circle for sure. It's not a big circle out there anymore. But yeah, Carr does trust him. So I am starting Renfro this week, and I like that.
Well, yeah, I mean, you look at this matchup, and the Chiefs' defense is historically bad. And does the Raiders have enough to kind of pieces to really exploit that? I don't know.
I mean, they do, but will they? They're the Raiders.
Yeah.
Derek Carr is good enough to beat this Chiefs team. He's beaten better Chiefs teams than this. I think they can. I probably even like the Raiders a little bit. I don't know.
Yeah.
I am losing the faith a little bit, and it's very early to lose the faith. But I'm losing the faith a little bit in the Chiefs. They just kind of seem to be a little figured out. And I'll talk a little more. I don't want to go too deep into Mahomes right now because I might bring him up later. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm actually I'm gonna. Yeah, you have those teams that have won a Super Bowl, and when you have Mahomes who's kind of done it, you kind of just expect him to kind of snap out of it. But with who they have, but I see the Raiders winning this game. I really do, and I think it's going to be an ugly game. Probably, Jordan Love. I mean, Jordan Love almost beat the Chiefs, right?
Yeah.
I mean, Derek Carr's at least. Derek Carr. He is who he is, but he's better than Jordan Love, right?
All right, Derek Carr's a good quarterback. Jordan Love's back quarterback. Right now, maybe it'll be good, but it doesn't seem like it. He had some good throws. But yeah, I agree. I actually do think Raiders in this one too. Pretty close game, probably in the teens. Maybe 21 points wins it, right? So I think maybe like a 2014 or like maybe 2012 game. Just
I love that. I'm going to go 2013 on that.
2013. No, 2012. Locking it in.
Locking in. All right. All right. What about you? What do you think, Drew?
Um, I think the Chiefs are going to pull this out and get a win. I probably would go 28-24 Chiefs.
There we go.
Just the mere fact of all the outside distractions that's going on, the loss of the Giants. I mean, this is what we see with Carr. He's an up and down quarterback, very inconsistent. And I know it's at Vegas, but I mean, Patrick Mahomes, how much lower can you go? I mean, the guy's he's gonna figure it out sooner and soon and eventually, and we're gonna see Kelsey, who's still the number one tight end in fantasy and in production value, and he's still not turning it up. So once he turns it up even more against this defense that has absolutely no linebacker coverage, yeah, I mean Kelsey's going to actually feast against the Raiders. I really think Kelsey's going to have a big game, and Chiefs are going to win this game.
The get right game against the division rivals. Okay.
I like that. I think I may be replaced here.
There you
Uneducated.
go. Yeah. No, you're still still
outdated
a little. Yeah, there you go.
So outdated.
So, speaking of turning it up, this could be a really interesting matchup. The Seahawks and Packers, a return of Russell Wilson, supposedly the return of, Aaron Rodgers. And it's at Lambeau Field. Kind of looking at the weather as well. This is going to be an interesting one. I'm in Wisconsin here, but it's a little bit further up north. 50% chance of snow on Sunday, mid 30s. It's going to be an interesting game. I don't know how windy it's going to be.
I think mid 30s is okay. I think mid 30s isn't going to affect too much unless there's like a lot of snow or a lot of wind. Like mid 30s alone, I think Rodgers and Wilson can do okay. And man, I just love this rivalry. I always have. They have this interesting little interdivisionary rival, right? And they always meet in the playoffs. They always somehow meet in the season. And both teams are still. Of course, the Packers are still competing. They just lost one game because they didn't get to play Rodgers. But the Seahawks aren't out of the wild card race yet. And there's plenty of time for a little late season Russell Wilson magic. This is going to be a fun one for sure.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Yeah.
I'm sorry. For me, what you just had in the last topic of must win, this has got to be a must win for the Seahawks. Mm-hmm. Because there's two teams, the Cardinals and the Rams, that's separating themselves from them in that division, and also we got to look at the Saints, the Vikings, all these other outlier teams that could easily take that 7th spot that has a couple games up on the Seahawks as it is. But the cold game doesn't benefit the Seahawks as it benefits the Packers because they got a guy named Aaron Jones who is an absolute beast, especially in cold games. And Aaron Rodgers is Aaron Rodgers. Now, I don't know if doesn't he have to have 2 tests or something like that in order for him to play on Sunday because it's
24
an automatic.
Apart. Yeah, two negative 24 hours apart before Sunday. Okay. There's a chance he doesn't play, and that would be a bummer for the watchability. Though, I will.
It'd be huge for the Seahawks.
What's that?
It'd be huge for the Seahawks.
Yeah, it'd be big money for the Seahawks. Yeah, no, for real. I for one have just been. If this is truly I could still see Jordan Love turning around and becoming a franchise quarterback, but if this is truly the future of the Packers, I cannot wait for them to have a bad quarterback.
I second that as a Bears fan. Yeah,
he didn't look good at all last week.
Bad quarterback play. They deserve it. They deserve it so much.
I agree.
No, but I do hope Rodgers plays because it'll be fun. It'll be fun because I just want to watch a good football game, right? It's hard to call these games, right? Mm-hmm. It's hard to call these games. In fact, you guys can go on it for a second. I want to see.
Well, yeah, you kind of. You touched on Aaron Jones. But also, AJ Dillon's a good play here as well. I mean, he's
hard-nosed running back.
Yep, and he's been better with receiving value as well. He's really catching the balls out of the backfield. And you look at the Seattle defense. They've got a soft secondary. They're vulnerable on the run. Looking at fantasy, they're 30th against running backs. So they're not good. You
No.
know,
No, it's a bad defense, and it'll be a great matchup. It is hard to, even with Russell Wilson, kind of once you break it down piece by piece, see the Seahawks coming in here and getting the upset. It'll be on Russell Wilson's back, throwing to his excellent wide receivers. That's just a recipe where you can win any game. But yeah, once you stack it up like that, almost every team has just ran over Seattle, and their secondary isn't good behind that either. So you can run on them, you can pass on them. And I think that's what's going to happen. I don't think Seattle stands much of a chance on the road here unless Russell Wilson just has one of those games, which he's prone to do every once in a while.
Well, we also got to talk about the fact that he's coming back from a broken finger pin out. Rust has to be shaken off. I mean, the odds are stacked against this offense, and like you said, this defense. I mean, we're talking about a team that traded 2 first-round picks for a guy who can't cover it in Jamal Adams. I mean, that was the downfall of this second surgence for this team after their title window closed with the absolute worst call ever in Super Bowl history. And that's just the epitome of the Seahawks. They can't make the right moves. Ever since Pete Carroll made amazing draft picks with Cam Chancellor and Bobby Wagner and them boys.
Yeah. I mean, that just happens. Your luck runs out after a a while.
Exactly.
You can't continue that strategy of just like nailing defensive players on the draft.
Right. And they also haven't made good moves. The trading. It's all started. It all started with if you really look back at the Seahawks, and they're such a great team, philosophy wise with Russell Wilson. But ever since they made that trade with Unger to Jimmy Graham for the Saints, it's been a downfall ever since because the problem has been offensive line. This is a run pounding play action team, and they went away from that, and that's the issue, and that's why Russell wants out. So you really think about it, Russell Wilson could be a culprit of the reason why the Seahawks have fell apart because he wanted so much money, he wanted to change his offense into a passing offense instead of it being what it was with Marshawn Lynch, where they had success. And it's been a downfall. It's hilarious to me just how the Seahawks so huge, and now just they contended for playoff spots, but it's never been
it's not the same.
It's never been the same.
Yeah,
exactly.
Because you didn't. I mean, it happens every once in a while. You see it to teams. Minnesota Vikings. That's the team I pay most attention to. 2015 draft, insane. And you're all of a sudden you're in the Super Bowl contention for a year. It doesn't matter that you're paying like $25 million to 3 quarterbacks and you're playing a backup one because you just nailed 3-4 draft picks and they're all pros on rookie contracts, right? So that luck always runs out. There is no consistent strategy to drafting that anyone has discovered. So it has been a bit of a downfall, and it's interesting what a great quarterback can do when your team is in free fall like that, because they've never been bad. They've never been bad with Russell Wilson, and they have good receivers, right? And they have a good personnel head coach. Not a great play calling head coach, but I've always said that it's hard to quantify personnel coach and like players coaches, but it does have a positive value. It's impossible to quantify, but you just know it's there. But yeah, this is a loss for the Seahawks. all that said.
Well, yeah, I mean they with injury wise, Chris Carson's I think still going to be out this game. Even if he's active, they're not sure how much he's going to play.
Yeah.
And Alex Collins, they got to the playoffs with didn't they bring Marshawn back?
That was a couple years ago. I think it was 2
years ago.
2 years ago. 2 years ago.
Yeah. It was 2.
So
yeah.
I mean, it really, you want that franchise quarterback, but you need the other pieces around him, and I mean, it doesn't seem. I mean, now they've got the wide receivers, but
who you're playing this weekend? By the way, you're playing all the wide receivers.
Yeah, I mean, you do because you have to, but
you have to.
Yeah,
but you look at this defense, the Packers defense, and that's kind of been the bane of the existence of Packer fans here in the area for so long, and they're stepping up this year. I mean, even against the wide receiver, against passers, I guess they're giving up the 9th fewest fantasy points versus passers, this year. They do have an injured secondary, but I don't know. I mean, you got to play them, but do you trust them? How much? is Russ going to be cooking with a microwave, or is he going to be what is he going to be cooking with?
I don't know. I do trust.
Nothing.
I will always trust Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf with Russell Wilson throwing the ball. And like that, you're going to be wrong sometimes, right? They don't have big games every game, but you just slide them in there, and you're like, don't play yourself by trying to get cute when you have when you have a really good quarterback throwing to talented receivers, even if it's like a decent passing offense, right? Just play your studs in that case, and those are both studs.
I have Russell Wilson and I have Carson Wentz on one of my leagues. I'm going with Carson Wentz.
Oh, that's different.
Wow.
He's going
that.
with Jacksonville this Sunday. But I love the comment here from Snapple Apple. I don't know who that is.
Oh, he's our boy.
That I actually campaigned for that move on my podcast in the offseason, dude. That is the perfect place for him to go to.
Go into Washington. Yeah.
That is the perfect place for Russell Wilson to go to. Oh my God. Can you imagine him and Terry McLaurin? Oh,
that'd be so much fun. Yeah, and it would be so great for Washington. You just kind of want to see those guys do good,
Agree.
Yeah. Yeah, so what do you got? What do you got on this line here?
So the Packers 3.5-point favorites right now. It's kind of going back and forth. It may go up, obviously, depending on Rodgers being back. But now this is with Rodgers. I'm going to say the Packers are going to win 27-20.
Agree.
Yeah, that's pretty close. I'll differ from it. I'll differ from a little bit. I'll give you like a 28-24. Maybe a 31-28 in there, because Russ could drop a pass in the bucket against anyone. We see him do it against good coverage too. But yeah, a little rusty, broken hand. How gritty is he gonna play? It's gonna be a great game to watch though. It's always when Seattle and Green Bay play, I always watch.
28-17 Packers. Aaron Rodgers.
Boom.
Aaron Jones 3 touchdowns.
Three touchdowns. There we go. Aaron Rodgers shutting up the haters. He's with his football skills.
See,
awesome.
And I've got Aaron Jones on one of my fantasy teams too. I watching some of the games, and unfortunately, I've had to watch some of the Packer games. My kids are Packer fans, unfortunately, I had to watch a little bit of that. Jordan Love debacle, but they seem to be giving AJ Dillon a lot more work, Aaron Jones definitely has a talent, and he's got that big play capability. I can definitely see that, but I also see AJ Dillon getting a touchdown or two as well. I see it being a big time on the ground.
Yeah, and they get him involved in the pass a little bit too. He's really good in the screen game, actually. Not really like a pass catching back per se, but he's kind of like an Alexander Madison where he's good in the screen game. It could be. I'd play him for sure. There's a lot of injured running backs around the league. A lot of people are probably playing Dillon this week. I would be comfortable with that as well.
I love that, Drew. Going ahead with a bold prediction, the 3 TDs. Love it.
Three TDs. Yeah, the week winning performance from Jones.
Snowy cold game. Packers love to run.
No, you're right. No, that's a pattern for sure.
Bakatari might be back, so that proves your O-line. So why not?
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Well, now, it comes to the main event, something I've been looking forward to. Obviously, we've got a Chargers guy and we've got a Vikings guy, and as a Bears guy, you can just kind of sit back and you kind of watch you guys go back and forth. But who has the advantage here? I mean, the Chargers at home.
Chargers have the advantage. Chargers.
We don't have a home crowd.
And actually a home crowd this time. Last time there was a lot of skulls in that stadium with Phillip Rivers throwing 6 picks. This is clear advantage Chargers. Vikings are kind of just crumbling. We got a lot of people on the COVID list. We got Dalvin Cook distractions. Regardless of how that plays out, it's a distraction. Distractions matter in the NFL. They hate them. Coaches hate them, especially a Zimmer coach. He hates a distraction. One thing, Vikings will be able to run the ball, hopefully. Dalvin Cook is playing, right? And this is not a great front. Linval Joseph, I've talked about him in the past. Not what he used to be, which makes me sad to watch. But I don't know. I just go with the best quarterback in this one. I just don't see the Vikings winning these tough games on the road either. I don't see them. I see them losing by a field goal, for sure. Can mark it down. I told you last week, too. Losing by a field goal.
You're right.
And you know what? on the first drive when Dalvin Cook had a 12-yard run. I put it on. It was on Reddit, so no one saw it. That Vikings losing a close one. You just know it. You can just it is in the stars. Anyway,
I'm going to say Vikings. The advantage.
Wow.
The reason why I do say that is just because of the fact that both our top corners are out this week. We also don't have Tranquil. Tranquil is on the COVID list, so he's not playing this Sunday. And that's another guy on our front that's out. So you got, and if Dalvin Cook, let's just say Dalvin Cook doesn't play, I think the Vikings have one of the best backup running backs in the game in Alexander Madison. So Madison could fill in the exact same role as Dalvin Cook. Probably not great as a rusher as Dalvin, but I think he does everything else great. What Dalvin Cook brings to the Vikings in the passing game and in the running game and in the IQ game. Also, yes, we do have the better quarterback, but that doesn't mean that you don't have the better receivers, because I still think Thielen and Jefferson and I like Coughlin better than our tight ends. So you already know how I feel about Jared Cook and Donald Pham. I mean, they can't. Coughlin fits that offense to a T. And the defensive wise, I do like the Chargers, but I still our rush defense is 31st. So I mean, you're talking about a Vikings team that can run and do play action, and I have the Vikings actually win this game. So we're too hurt. We're too hurt. We're too injured.
It's certainly possible. It's certainly possible. Yeah. Because we're gonna be in every game. It would be interesting if we see a switch in philosophy from the Vikings. A little bit of desperation in that room. I think Zimmer might know he's done no matter what. He's not a dumb guy. I think he knows this is it.
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree.
He can see the writing on the wall for sure, and honestly, that's fine. You can walk off like that's fine. Like Zimmer's great. I'll wave to him as he says goodbye.
I gotta ask. I have to ask you. You think his downfall was him and your GM signing Kirk Cousins? Was that his downfall?
I think that was a mechanism for his downfall. We talked about this last week, and I went on it for a long time.
I was there, yeah.
There's the three pillars, right? There's the starting quarterback, the head coach, and the GM, and they all kind of screwed this one up a little bit in their own special way, and none of them were egregious, none of them were bad, but none of them really worked together to elevate the team as one. Zimmer did not want Cousins. It's obvious, right? They had to distract him by bringing Sheldon Richardson into the building while they signed Cousins, right? Literally, they had to distract him with the defensive lineman. But Cousins isn't really like. I was a little emotional last week, called him a selfish prick. He kind of is. Cousins is out to get his, and it's not always about money, but it's like, I'm going to do my job. This is what I'm supposed to do. I'm going to get my money for sure, right? Which I don't blame him for any of that, but he's not really he's not elevating the people around him the way a franchise quarterback can when they're a good leader. He's just not a natural leader. It's not his fault. And then Mike Zimmer decided to completely ignore that side of the football field. He refers to them as you guys over there. He talks about like, oh, we did this. It's always them and us when it's like you are the head coach, right? You need to foster a relationship with your quarterback. If you're a defensive-minded head coach, it doesn't matter. You still foster a relationship with your quarterback. But it was like everyone was like doing their separate jobs like pretty well, right? So it's everyone's fault. So it is the fault of the GM Spielman for bringing Cousins in and extending him. That was the first contract. Sure, you take a shot. And it was the fault of Mike Zimmer for just kind of shelling up against that instead of accepting that. And it was the fault of Cousins for just being mediocre and really more about himself than anything else. So Mike Zimmer didn't help himself. He did not help himself, even though he was dealt a poor hand. He kind of gave up on it.
Yeah, I definitely get that. I want to say to the audience who watches this, the selfish part for Kirk Cousins. If people see this, what people don't get, and he explained that perfectly, because we're talking about a guy who still drives his grandmother's van to practice and lives with his parents, I believe, in the basement. because he's such a pity
uses
pitcher.
gift cards at Pizza Ranch for sure.
I mean, he's just he's that guy. But the perfect description of Kirk Cousins is what he said. He doesn't elevate anybody. He does his job. He's not a leader. He's good
at his job too. He's good at his job.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, he's top 15 stats wise as a quarterback, but he's just.
It's like top 4 stats wise. Top 15 overall when you take in the flaws, right? But stats wise, that dude knows how to bring him home.
He's just inconsistent. It's just very
the Kirk coaster. The Kirk coaster.
Yeah.
Yeah, goes up, goes down, but at the end of the day, you're pretty much breaking even.
You are.
But yeah, I mean, I could see, the way you break it down, you kind of convinced me of a Vikings win a little bit. Because this team does have some juice, right? And if they get the running game going early,
it's over.
It's not over. It's just getting started because we don't know how to finish. We'll get it going. We'll get up by 14, then we'll play prevent and run on 2nd and 10 for the rest of the game, including overtime.
Speaking of the run game, does Eckler have enough to kind of run against the Chargers front? I mean, is that
against the Vikings front?
Or sorry, against the Vikings front? Yeah, I mean,
personally, I think he does, but I'll let you run with that.
He does. He has the potential, but once again, it's about what you're bringing into Sunday. What is your game plan against the Minnesota Vikings? I mean, if it's me looking, bird's eye view and seeing that the secondary is, I don't even think Patrick Peters is he playing.
Nope, neither is Michael Pierce. Neither is Michael Pierce, probably. Yeah, so I think you can run and pass. To be honest.
I mean it's a mixture of both. You could you could disguise the pass with a lot of run screens.
Pretty sure Anthony Barr's out too,
and all that. So I mean, he could do it. He definitely could do it. Will he do it? No, because like I said last time we were on the podcast, this is all about Lombardi's offense, and it's screens, intermediate routes to the deep routes, and trying to get Mike Williams going.
I mean, you got to push the ball downfield. I think Harrison Smith is also out, or he was last week. We'll see if he because he was unvaccinated, and I think he wasn't even close to recovery by Sunday last week. Yeah, I feel like if you want to beat the Vikings, you want to push the ball downfield this week. You can run the ball, and you should run the ball, but man, this defense has always just been a step slower on grass. Just always, I don't know what it is, just a step slower on grass, and they give up more big plays on grass. I could see like a 90-yard Eckler run or a big Mike Williams touchdown for sure. Who's the third wide receiver this year?
It mixes in between Guyton and Palmer.
One of them is going to have a career game. is what it feels like.
That'd be great.
No, I feel like the strategy needs to be to take the top off the defense. You don't want to play around with the intermediate stuff. We have a good nickel corner. We have a really good coverage linebacker in Michael Kendricks. Eric Kendricks.
We installed a double tight end set last week, and Lombardi's saying that's what they're moving forward doing.
You going 11 or 12? You're going 12 personnel like the Vikings?
That's what Lombardi wants to insert.
Yeah,
you can run on this team.
Three of them. I'd say all 3 tight ends had big fantasy games. I don't think it's going to happen, or maybe it will. I don't know.
That's actually crazy. I forgot about that. Yeah. And you can run on this Vikings team as well. They're just not good against the run flat out. Every team who has attempted to run on them has had success. Really low in the league, really low ranked in yards per play and total yards per game. So yeah, run and take the top off is how I would approach it, and you got the weapons to do both those things, and the Vikings love choking away close games, so we'll see if Greg Joseph hits that 40-yarder as time expires, maybe.
Well, here I kind of want to pick the Vikings to win 3-0, so.
That'd be lovely. Mike Zimmer would be so happy. Yeah, I'll take Chargers. I think both teams are going to score a lot of points here. I want to go 31-28. No, 34-31.
And there you go.
28-24.
28-24. Yeah, it's something.
Minnesota.
Like that.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So you both picked Minnesota.
Well, no, I haven't picked I haven't done mine yet.
Okay. I'm sorry.
I wanted to say 3-0, but yeah,
3-0. Yeah, of course. Sorry.
I do see a lot of points as well. I'm going to say 37-34, and I'm going to go Chargers.
37-34 would be a barn burner. Yeah, Kirk is pretty good on the road. I could see him. I could see it happening. Yeah. How's Derwin been lately? I haven't paid much attention to
Great.
to Derwin James. Just great
Miss
as
him.
always.
Missed him for the last 2 years.
Yeah, big time.
Captain in the defense changes the whole thing, changes the nature of it, changes the schemes. He's a hybrid, lining up at multiple positions on the defensive side.
Has he been covering wide receiver ones at all?
No, he's not there yet. He's still talking about shaking off the rust. But his like I told my man up here, the greatest performance I've ever seen from a safety was when he lined up with Kelsey at Kansas City in 2018, his rookie year, and shut him down in one catch. I mean, I think that's the last time we've seen Kelsey been shut down to one catch ever in his career. So,
Tyler Conklin in trouble. No, he's.
I'm pretty sure they'll put Derwin over at one of the big guys. So
you got to put him over the top. You got to play too deep. If you play too deep safety, Kirk just kind of won't throw the ball, and it's like you can still throw it. Like everyone plays too deep. Like you can still huck it. Like you got Jefferson and Thielen down there. Oh, are they not good enough at contested catches?
Yeah.
So I think play too deep, and hopefully that just be good enough against the run.
Yeah. We got Murray coming back too. So Murray's first game back since week 3. So I mean, that helps out a lot for the middle linebacker core. But it's gonna be a barn burner. I think.
Is this a must win for the Chargers?
No.
Oh,
no.
Okay.
I mean, personally, for me to say no, I don't believe so. Their schedule is one of the easiest heading into the second half. They're still in a good position if they lose this one game above 5, and they have easy opponents coming up. Let me just say must-win games. Charger history, we always lose the easy ones and win the hard ones. But they did what they need to do against Philly. I thought that was a good confidence rebounding game for Herbert, and that should move forward for this offense. And we'll see what happens. That's why I said Sunday's going to be a very interesting game to see how this offense is going to work against, 2 back-to-back defenses that are below 15 in total defense. And so we'll see what they can do. But I don't think it's a must-win. Not yet.
No, must win for Mike Zimmer if he wants even to be in the Hunt graphic.
That I agree.
But the Vikings, in contrast, their schedule's brutal. I just don't. I think it's just pretty much it. Like I think you had one chance to shoot for glory against Baltimore and get your season on track. But even if we're 4-4, even the Vikings are 4-4 right now, with the easiest part of their schedule behind them. Yeah, it's still not feeling good about that, right? Because if you're 4-4, you're probably just going to be 8-9. It's not like a majority of the teams that are 500 after 6, 7, 8 weeks are 500 teams.
Right.
So yeah, I never hope that the Vikings lose. I always root for the Vikings, and I always pour my soul into that, and that's really an issue for me. But I'm kind of looking for them to lose this because I'm already kind of like, you know what, this is over. This whole system has gotten a little stagnant. No offense to anyone. Everyone did a fine job, right? But it's probably time to shake it up. So I'm just kind of like, all right, let's lose a couple, see if we can get a decent draft pick, and see if we can get some development out of the offensive line. That's what I want to see.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'd like to end on just a couple. I've got 3 statements here, and I'm going to throw them out to you guys and have you kind of react to them. So you ready? This is called the overreaction game. All right, here we go. Number 1, Patriots will win the AFC East and go to the Super Bowl.
Maybe. The first part's totally fine. You had to spice it up.
Of course I did.
They could. Daniel Jones is a rookie. How pissed would everyone be? Oh my god, I almost want to see it just to see
Mac
how
Jones.
vitriol.
Mac Jones.
Oh, Mac Jones. Sorry, Mac Jones. Yeah. Oh man, the vitriol would be so real if they got another quarterback to the Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Maybe I see them losing in the wild card round or maybe a divisional round. Personally, what about you?
No on the AFC East and no on the Super Bowl, but I still think they'll make a playoff spot.
Yeah.
I think they're fairly locked on that.
Yeah,
fairly.
Their defense, top 5. Bill Belichick said his bag of tricks as always. And he's just reminding people how great of a defensive mind he is.
Yeah.
Arguably the greatest of all time when it comes to defensive schemes and all that, which I don't think there's any more debate on that anymore. Mac Jones, reminds me of a 2000 to 2006 Tom Brady.
Mm-hmm.
He really
if
does.
he can catch fire. If he can catch fire,
really
right?
does.
He set the baseline where it's like, okay, the floor is where we hoped it would be, right? The floor is where we hoped. But if he can catch fire,
just the mere fact that he's the reason why Cam Newton lost his job because he didn't know the playbook and he had a year and a half ahead of getting to know the playbook Cam did, and Mac was only there for a mere 2 months and already knew the playbook inside and out. Should tell you things about what he is.
Yeah, you gotta have situational awareness there, right? Because you're playing for Bill Belichick. He doesn't care who you are. He loves to throw you out. Just because it probably makes him happy.
He threw the goat out.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of that, moving on to overreaction number 2 here. Cam Newton will lead the Panthers to the playoffs. Superman is back.
They're in a playoff spot right now, aren't they?
No, the Falcons are.
Oh, the Falcons took it over him. Oh yeah.
No. He's not playing Sunday. We know that for sure. I don't know who they're playing. I forgot who they're playing this week. But he's supposed to start next week. But no. I mean, that are we getting 2015 Cam back? Pre-injuries where he could throw the ball more than 45 yards? He can't. Nah, it's not going to happen. He's too hurt. He's too done. I love Cam, but it's just not happening. Yeah. And just the offensive line is not good. I know Cam. I know CMC's back, and he looked good last week, striking off that rust against a good New England defense like we just talked about. But I mean, where in the hell is Robbie Anderson go? His confidence has just went.
And he's played for the Jets and kept it together. So it's like, what's the difference?
Well, I mean, last year he had a great year with Bridgewater.
Yeah.
And now with Sam Darnold, who I am pretty sure all of us and pretty much most of America thought that was the way better quarterback than Teddy Bridgewater.
And not this part of America, but that's okay.
That's fine. That's fine. I really thought Sam Darnold would benefit in.
He certainly has more talent. Yeah.
And he's not. He's not. He's not a good quarterback. He's an average quarterback.
Yeah. Yeah, and honestly, on top of that, going back to the Cam stuff a little bit, and this will kind of transition to what we were just talking about there. I do not trust Joe Brady to adjust his offense on the fly mid-season when he's consistently shown an inability to adjust at all. So he's going to all of a sudden design a Cam Newton style offense? Hell no. No, I don't have much trust in him as a play caller or offensive designer at all. And I have less confidence in Matt Rule, who's is better than some of the other college coaches who've come into the league, but not still from the same ilk. Cam doesn't do anything for that team because the coaching will not empower him, and he's probably just not good enough right now, unfortunately.
Need to do a shout out to fantasy football managers across the world. Sell now for DJ Moore. Just sell him.
Oh, yeah.
Just sell him.
Yeah.
The only person that's going to benefit out of this is CMC. That's it.
Yep.
Yeah.
No, it's good.
It's so interesting, the Panthers went all in, after that hot start, and they traded for, the former Patriots, Gilmore, right?
Gilmore. It's a good trade. It's fine.
The defense is going to be solid, but yeah, I mean, that's, you see on the sideline, you saw, Robbie Anderson, I think, was yelling at Darnold, and you just, yeah, I mean,
he's full. We're talking about a guy that almost had double-digit touchdowns, I believe, last year, and almost 1,000 yards with Bridgewater, and all of a sudden you disappear. I mean, come on, man.
Yeah. Teddy B knows how to win a game, though. That's one of the things Darnold has yet to figure out, and it's an interesting skill, hard to quantify. Teddy B does win games. Sam Darnold does not very often win games. He had a decent start to the season, but I think we all knew they were frauds. I think very few people legitimately hopped on the Panthers off that wave because they played, pretty bad teams, pretty bad offenses, pretty bad defenses, just kind of the whole first 4 or 5 weeks. And not that they're a bad team, but they were in the conversation with some of the teams that are
Right.
elite in both leagues, and they're just not. They're just fine, and they're get the 7th seed probably, regardless of who plays quarterback. Maybe not probably not actually, but they might.
No, Minnesota would take them over in a quick minute.
No way. We have to play Chicago twice at the end of the year. You think we're gonna win a must win against Chicago at the end of the year? No chance,
especially the
dude.
way Justin Fields is playing. Yeah.
Oh, number 1 quarterback rating.
There you go. There you go. Well, my last overreaction here is another top NFC team here. Overreaction. Odell Beckham Jr. will destroy the Rams.
The locker room.
Yeah.
Maybe. Probably not. They got a stronger culture. But we thought that about the Browns too, didn't we? No. I think that was an unnecessary. Oh, maybe it was. What did they get him for? They just got him for nothing, right? They just pick him up off waivers, pretty much.
$4 million.
$4 million. Okay, yeah. No.
Is that a 1 year just for the rest of the year? Right?
Just a 1 year deal. It's 1.5 off the jump, and then 3.5 for incentives.
Yeah, and if he starts causing problems in the locker room, they're just gonna get rid of him.
No, I think this is a great move for both parties. Here's why, real quick. Here's why. They got a guy in there that's won a championship, that is a veteran, that is a future Hall of Famer, and they just traded for him, and he's already making splashes in the locker room as the leader, and that's Von Miller. And he's the one that texted him and told him to go to LA. They also have Aaron Donald, and they also have Jalen Ramsey, which is really good friends with OBJ. He'll be fine. He's gonna be good in that locker room. He loves LA. He'll be close to LeBron, and he's gonna be super happy about it. And I'm not being sarcastic.
No, you're not. No, I'm laughing because it's true. Because that actually
good
matters.
Friends with him. And we also have to really get into the mind of Sean McVay. I mean, we're talking about an offensive guru. Yes, he's a guru. People don't like that. Whatever. He's a guru.
I would say the Rams guy that I interviewed would disagree.
Yes. So you got X. You got the X position with Cooper. You got the Y position with Woods, or the Z position, and then you have the Z position with OBJ. You got a tight end who could fill in when you need him in Higbee. You got Sony Michel. You got Darrell Henderson. You got one of the best offensive lines that are very underrated. I mean, just imagine the pressure that Stafford has now on his shoulders.
He's gonna mess it up.
If he loses one, guys, if he loses the first playoff game, it's gonna be hell for him, because he sucks when it comes to postseason games.
And
look at his last 2 games in postseason with Detroit, with one of the greatest receivers of all time in Calvin Johnson, and a good offensive line that was always the middle of the pack. He just never showed up.
No, 100%. And we have me and Andy have enjoyed him watching him for years and years and years. Really good quarterback. But I'm starting to see the late season Stafford signs.
Yes.
The 360 falling over interception directly to a linebacker.
Yes.
Whose bingo card was that on? Everybody's, because he does it every year. He does it all the time. And I was like, oh yeah, here it comes. Oh, and he's got a little ankle injury, and it's like, but his thumb hurts, so it's holding him back, and it's like, here we go.
His back stiffening up already in practice.
Exactly. Oh man, I do wish him well, but I just have seen so much Stafford gameplay. I've seen so much Stafford, and I know
you gotta think of the wasted years of talent he had with Detroit. I mean, that's why his back is the way it is. It's scary. You really think about it, it's scary. He is one hit possibly from just calling it a career. That's why when that trade with Jared Goff, I would have done the trade too. But
absolutely.
But we're talking about a team that has no future if he goes. Really think about that. They cannot go and draft a first round quarterback unless they trade one of their big time players like a Ramsey or a Donald or possibly a Cooper Kupp if they have to make that move.
You can't.
This is literally all in, right?
Yeah.
This is
it's a lovely experiment. Yeah. No. Absolutely. It's a
they're-
lovely
they're-
experiment.
They're out of draft picks too, pretty
Exactly.
much, right?
2025 is the first time they
It's
can
the
pick
first
in
one.
first
And
round.
it's great. I'm
Yeah.
so glad we get to see this because no one ever does this. And they're just like,
No.
nope, trading them all. Don't
Yep.
care. We're going to be good the whole time. We're only going to get players that we know are good.
Mm-hmm.
And eventually you got to wonder when that bill does come, right?
Oh, my
Is it going to
God.
be like a New York Knicks situation after they traded for KG?
Right.
And
Right?
That's almost like, you playing in a dynasty league and going ahead and making all those moves and then dropping out of the league.
Yeah, pretty much.
right.
Pretty much.
Like, oh,
You
someone
know?
could take my spot. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's gonna be really crazy seeing Higbee, OBJ, Woods, and Cup all on the same offense.
It's a good
Just imagine how fun Sean McVay is gonna be this week, doing up formations, doing up plans. Oh, I could put OBJ here. I could take the safety and double bracket him with OBJ, and then leave Cooper Cup wide open, all day, just one-on-ones. It's gonna be insane.
Well, that's why
stupid.
that's why I ask, if it would, ruin the Rams, what if it doesn't work? What if, he schemes all these
He'll get
things
cut.
and then, I guess,
He'll get cut.
Yeah.
It's just a 1.5 million loss on their cap hit. They'll see you later. It won't work, and I guarantee you, he will wait till the season's done, and then be a free agent and see what happens.
Easy.
See, to me, I think this is where the Raiders messed up. I thought the Raiders should have not signed Deshaun Jackson. Wait to see what this OBJ fallout was, and then sign OBJ. OBJ wanted to go. He had interest in the Raiders. I mean, Derek Carr and him have some connection. So I thought that would have been the bit, because he wants to show people that he still has it.
Yeah.
It's either the Packers or the Rams. He said, why not go? I understand the Packers were offering that much. You don't need the money. You're still getting paid from New York.
Ooh, Packers, yeah. Ooh.
Right? I mean, it seemed to be the perfect fit. You have
More glory,
arguably a top 10 all-time quarterback waiting for you. You have Devontae Adams laying opposite of you. You're going to have one-on-one coverage, literally, because they're going to put the focus on Devontae. I mean, it's just
and your competition is MVS and Alan
Yeah,
Lazard.
MVS and Lazard.
Yeah, right. Yeah, now you put it that way. But I don't know. He wanted to go to
It's-
LA. I think you're right. I think he just wanted to go to LA. And that team's got just as good a chance as the Packers. Probably less
I
glory
agree.
for him,
I
but
agree.
maybe better that he doesn't need that much responsibility. Because if he comes in, that's the move. He's the wide receiver too. Like, let's go OBJ taking us to the Super Bowl. And that's probably unrealistic, right? So maybe it's better for him that he took the lower stress position.
No, I agree with you.
Oh man,
Well,
go ahead.
I would say, I mean, this has been, great. Obviously, talking, week 10 preview. Definitely appreciated having you, Drew, join us this week.
Yeah,
I
Drew, it was
appreciate it.
awesome. Thank you so much.
Appreciate it, guys. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah. Once again, it's been Outdated, Uneducated, and look forward to another great week, right? And look forward to hopefully having some wins under our belt. Actually trying to guess something right?
yeah, hopefully.
So once again, you can find me at NFL Outdated on Twitter, and where can you find you guys?
I'm Cooper. I go by Uneducated Takes on Twitter, where you can find me, or you can find me on Reddit if you can actually find me.
I'm gonna check that out now.
Yeah, good luck.
And Drew, where?
Sportsbox Drew 27, man. You guys can catch our shows on Wednesday nights, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. We are on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube.
Awesome. Well, thanks, guys. Been great, and got to say, go Roger Goodell.